Thank you. You know, the mere measure of time is such a feeble gauge of principled action. It took precisely 11 and a half minutes for the USS Oklahoma to capsize at its moorings, and 66 years for the dedication of its memorial. But 429 American voices, as Paul Goodyear has so eloquently reminded us at every opportunity, 429 American voices never stopped speaking to our hearts. And so, this day, we gather here. You will hear on this anniversary of the infamy from those of us who bring words of congratulations and gratitude on behalf of the people that we serve. You will hear today from those whose selfless efforts have resulted in this memorial. And, I think most important, you will hear from men and representatives of men who know the story of this great battleship firsthand, whose brothers in arms perished in these fiery waters, whose lives were forever ordained on December 7th, 1941, as witnesses and survivors of the attack on the USS Oklahoma. It is certainly my great blessing to serve as governor of the great state of Oklahoma during this, her centennial year, and consequently, my deep honor to participate in this most important dedication. My fervent belief is that the sacrifices of those whose final breaths were drawn as sailors and Marines aboard this proud ship are being honored by the shining achievements of the grateful, free people of Oklahoma and indeed the United States of America. My hope is that the survivors are judging favorably our progress as a young state, and that our accomplishments are worthy of their patriotism. There are so many who have labored for so long to see this day, and I'm compelled to mention just a few individually. Thank you to Lou Kerr and Blake Wade and the Oklahoma Centennial Commission for helping so significantly with the funding of this memorial. Thank you, Oklahoma Secretary of Veterans Affairs Norman Lamb and State Senator Jim Reynolds for playing literally key roles in the creation of this memorial. Thank you to our federal partners, and in particular Congressman Tom Cole, Congressman Dan Boren, Congressman Mary Fallon, and Congressman Abercrombie. Thank you to the members of the USS Oklahoma Memorial Project Committee, including co-chairs Greg Slavonic and Tucker McHugh. And thank you to USS Oklahoma survivors Paul Goodyear and Ed Veazey, who worked tirelessly and tenaciously to build support for this project. And I must say, I am so very proud of all Oklahomans. It was, after all, an Oklahoma initiative. Oklahoma dollars. Oklahoma artisans and craftsmen that made today a reality. And without the heroic effort of the compassionate citizens of the great state of Oklahoma, we would not be here today to honor those who selflessly served, those who amazingly survived, and those who courageously died on the USS Oklahoma. Today, we begin a new chapter in our remembrance of those who fought and died just a few hundred yards from here. But in many ways, similar chapters have been written throughout our beloved country's history. Just listen as I conclude to the powerful and still most appropriate words of Abraham Lincoln. In a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Oklahoma, and God bless America.